levels of your marketing, like when people get a first intro to you, when they're being nurtured by your content, and when you're inviting them to work with you, the messaging plays a big role through all of it. So I wanted to take some time today to share with you what I've learned just through this launch and how I'm going to be pivoting my messaging. And we'll be able to kind of do a little workshopping here. You guys are going to be able to kind of identify some tweaks you can make in your messaging, identify maybe some problems you didn't know you had in your business, and figure out a way to ultimately pivot your messaging or refine it to start attracting more of the clients that you want. All right, so we got a few people saying hello in the chat. Hey, Christine, great to see you from Newfoundland, Canada. Alcohol Freedom Coach. We have Camille, who's a health coach from Pennsylvania. Great to see you both. And yeah, let's see here. So I'm going to wait for a couple more people to sign on here. Hey, Mickey, Tim, great to see you. Cybel, great to see you all. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nathan, by the way. I'm a business coach and I work with coaches to help them sign more clients. And I do this primarily through marketing systems to help them grow their business. And hey, Mickey, yeah, great to be here. Good to see you. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I have past experience working with 6 and 7 figure coaches, helping them scale. And now I've kind of broadened my reach to work with early stage coaches who want to sign more clients. So let's dive in terms of, what we'll cover today. Let's pull up my screen here. So we're going to cover, common messaging issues. And how you can avoid them and what you can do to shift them so that you make sure you're attracting more of the types of people you want to work with. We are also going to cover basically there's 4 components to great messaging. And so we're going to cover these 4 components. And we're also going to talk about empowered messaging, which is very important to make sure that you're, attracting people who are all about making a change in their life and that they're actually, empowered to do so. So starting from the top here, we dive in with the common issues. So here's some things you might see in your business if the messaging is a little off. So you might have, lack of leads, which is possible if your messaging is not resonating with the right person, or people just aren't feeling enough of a connection to kind of like raise their hand and express interest in working with you. Again, you might see people who are coming on board who maybe they don't trust you right away. So maybe you have conversations with people on enrollment calls and there's like a low level of trust there. They're not familiar with you. They don't know quite how you can help. And because of that, they're less inclined to join your coaching program. You could also be kind of like, I call it like scrapping together clients, like you're kind of scrapping for clients. You're basically kind of hodgepodging however you can to sign clients. Maybe you're networking, maybe you're getting referrals, you're kind of like scraping it all together. But when it comes to getting clients online, it's just not quite flowing yet. And yeah, there could also be bad fit clients or inconsistency in the clients you bring on. So if they're a bad fit, it could be maybe they're just not your ideal client and your messaging has somehow, attracted that person into your world. So these are some pretty common issues that I've seen when it comes to messaging. And we really want to kind of shift this to, a point where you have an abundance of leads, people trust you, your content's resonating, and you're kind of seen as like a likable guide that people want to work with. I think that that's important, so I'll write it down. The proper positioning and the proper messaging is going to help, your ideal client see you as a likable guide that they want to work with, so you can kind of overcome the trust hurdle through your content. And you kind of want to go from like, scrapping together clients however you can to just having a predictable flow of clients. And, go from obviously like inconsistency and not quite the right fit to perfect fit. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today in terms of, the issues and how to transition away from them. So that kind of brings us into the how. How do we craft, powerful messaging that resonates? And there's really four things that you need to have a really good grip on to make this work. So one is niche clarity. And the reason that this is important is because you need to know exactly who you're serving and how you serve them so that when you go to make content or, if you're a little more advanced and you want to run ads, for example, that your messaging is actually going to speak to your ideal client in a way that's very clear and tailored for them so they know like, hey, this person's relevant to me. So the how is really about establishing relevancy. And in today's day and age where people have very short attention spans, and if they stumble across your content online or they find your profile online, they need to know within a few seconds, whether or not you can actually help them. So it's good to be very forward facing about what you do, make it very clear that you're a coach. I recommend having like an I help statement in your bio so people can see exactly whether or not it's for them. And also from there, um, yeah, clearly stating who you work with in that statement and how you can help them. So if someone finds your profile, there's an instant connection and they'll at least give you a little bit of their time and start to pay attention. So beyond that, market research is also very important. So once you have an idea of the niche that you want to work with, some practical steps you can take are interview like 10 to 20 people in your niche. And the goal here is to kind of find out like what are the common problems, what are the common goals, desires, what's kind of getting in the way of them reaching those goals, what are some of the consequences if things don't change and stay the same. And so if you're able to really get in and talk to these people and find out, who they are on a very personal level, your messaging is going to reflect that, and it's going to be a mirror to really attract those types of people to you and resonate on a deeper level. Because in addition to relevancy, we kind of want this like, it's like you're reading my diary effect where people feel very understood and they feel very connected to what you're saying because it's so specific to them. So again, with the messaging, niche clarity, super important, like knowing who you serve, doing the appropriate market research to really get a feel for like what are their problems, what are their goals, desires, what's holding them back right now, what are some consequences if things don't change, where are they hanging out online? That's another good one because you'll want to know like, is my ideal client on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Like you'll kind of get a feel for what platforms you can put yourself out there on to really attract this type of person to you. And we want to do it in a way that's so specific to them that, they feel like this person's reading my diary. They really have a grip on like what I'm going through in life and where I'm at and what I want. So in addition to this, once we do, maybe I'll number these because they kind of go in a sequential order. So niche clarity, market research, and then we also have a client avatar. And this is an additional level of specificity on top of your niche. So, your niche could be something as simple as like, I help women regain their confidence, for example. And then your client avatar is like a very specific type of woman that you want to work with. So she could be a 9 to 5er or like a career professional. And you get very detailed about the type of person that you want to serve. Because this is going to make sure a few boxes are checked. You really want to make sure, like, number one, they actually have a gap, which is the whole point of your coaching is to help them close this gap. And you'll establish that in your market research. But you want to make sure that your client avatar actually wants to go through the transformation that you're providing. And so, if you're helping, let's say, for example, to use the same example of women's empowerment, um, if you're targeting like executive level women, they might not have that problem anymore. Like maybe they've already worked through it and they're actually, at the top of the ladder in their work, and they don't feel a need for like drilling down deeper into like feeling empowered because they've already done that. They've already closed that gap. But if it's like someone who's working a 9 to 5, that might be a different situation where maybe they're feeling more overwhelmed. They have too much pressure put on them from their boss, things like that. And they're, saying yes to things when they know they should say no, and people pleasing and all this. So, really making sure that your client avatar has the gap is very important. Additionally, you can drill down on like specifics. So, obviously, like demographics and psychographics. So, I can't spell this right now. There we go. Psychographics. So you really want to make sure that you have a very specific person in mind when you're making content. And I have worksheets for all of these, including the fourth one I'm about to mention. So if you guys want these worksheets, I would recommend commenting on the Facebook Live or comment in the chat worksheets, and I'll send you all four of these so that you have like a really good handle on clarity on your niche. You have, the questions you need to ask in your market research, and you have a client avatar sheet you can fill out after you do the research, because this is going to be huge for moving the needle to give you a ton of clarity on who you want to work with and what types of problems they have and how you can actually put yourself out there to really resonate with that person. So let's see. Beyond the client avatar, we also have 9 core beliefs. And these are beliefs that you want to touch on in your marketing. So we have, let me let somebody in here. So we have pain, which is basically like, there's something in my life I'm unhappy about. And, what is this problem specifically? And then we have also desire, which is like there's somewhere else that I want to be in life right now. Like I have goals, I have aspirations. And then we also have cost, which is basically like consequences, like what's going to happen if nothing changes and things stay the same. And then we have help. I can't do this on my own. I need someone to help me. We also have expert, which is essentially like you demonstrating your expertise as a coach to actually help this person. We have timing, which is, a lot of people want to make a change, but they don't always believe that now is the right time. So we want to weave in messaging around like, why now is the perfect time to get coaching. In addition to that, we have invest, which is basically like, I need to invest to make a change. And then we also have process, which is like your coaching process. So like there's a process that I can follow to get the results that I want. And so this is actually, sorry, 8 core beliefs. So we have these 8 beliefs that we want to weave into our messaging and basically show people how much awareness we have of their situation. And I'll give you kind of an example of each of these. So in my world, if I market to coaches, so I would say something like, for pain. Like when I first started my coaching business, I really struggled to get clients. I was relying on referrals and networking, and I signed a lot of clients through my own network. But when it came to getting clients online, I just hadn't quite figured it out. Like that's an example of, pain or a problem that they have. And then with desire, you could say something like, I recently had a 10K day in my coaching business, and here's how that played out, and here's how that happened, right? So you're able to weave in the desires that your ideal client has. Cost. So what are the consequences if nothing changes? And it's always good to. I'll also preface this by saying, because I'm using examples from my own life, like embodied content. So it's a lot more powerful if you can tell stories from your own experience as a coach versus like the you frame of like, if nothing changes for you, then all these things are going to happen. It's more like, you know, like when I hired a mentor, I'll just tell that story really quick. Um, I had been doing coaching for about a year, and I pretty much tapped out my network for referrals. And I knew if things didn't change and I didn't get help, that I'd have to like probably go back to like working a job that I didn't want, or, take on other side work to support my income. And so I tell stories about that in my content where it's like I knew if I didn't get the help I needed, that I'd have to, probably start applying for jobs or, hit up friends and do some like side work while I built my coaching business, and it wouldn't be very helpful like to my goals. So good to come from this from like a embodied place where like it's stories from your life that help people see the path forward. Help, I just kind of gave an example of that too. Like I couldn't do it on my own. And so the other thing is you can weave multiple beliefs into one piece of content. Expert, this one, it kind of just shines through based on who you are and how you come across. Like you don't have to necessarily go out of your way to like prove that you're an expert to somebody. They just kind of see it through the things that you're doing and through your own personal story. But it is important for them to see you as like a likable guide who can help them get the result that they want. Let's see. And then we have timing. So timing is basically like why now is the right time. And in my own life, I tell a story about like how I hired a mentor at what I thought was like the worst time possible. And I was moving from Hawaii and I was packing up all my things and shipping my car. And I just knew that I had to do it. So I just jumped in and did it, even though like my life was pretty chaotic. So if you have stories about how, you made a change in your life, like, um, whatever you coach people on, it's just going back to like the women's empowerment example, like if you knew that it was time to like step up and start claiming your power and live with more confidence, and did you get help with that or did you kind of do it on your own? But like what spurred the decision and why was then like the perfect time? So I think that this is all, very important for your audience to see, and they'll be able to really relate to you on a whole other level when you come across this way. Invest is important. I just made a post about how, I invested again in mentorship, and I think that it's an important belief for your audience to have is like, I can't do this on my own, and I need to like invest in a coach to help me get to where I want to go. So if you're able to share your own experiences about how like you invested in your own personal growth and, whether that's a coaching certification or another mentorship program that you went through to help you get more skills. This is important for your audience to see so that it becomes normalized and they see that like, oh yeah, if I invest in myself, I'm actually able to get a result on the other side. And then process. So if you don't have like a quote signature process yet for your coaching, I'd recommend that you create one, and kind of experiment with it and think about what you already take people through. Like, is there like three or four common pillars in your coaching? Like, I'll just write this out. Three or four pillars that everybody needs help with, pretty much universally. And then you can kind of turn that into your method, right? Like in the coaching world, I've noticed that, most coaches who are, either just starting out or have had their first few clients already, they typically need help with their niche, their offer, their audience growth, and an enrollment process to sign clients, right? So those are kind of like four main pillars that I can create a method from in my case. So this is all super important, and I'm going to open up things for Q&A at the end here. So if you have any questions about this, I'd be happy to um, start answering those in just a few minutes. But these four things are really what establishes you as a relevant expert who can help you, who can help the right types of clients that you want to work with. So being totally clear on who you want to serve, doing your market research so you're actually able to um, interview these people and really understand their situation on a deep level. Having a client avatar in mind that you're like always writing to when you make content or when you do workshops or whatever the case is. And then following these core beliefs to from like an embodied place of like how it's manifested in your life so that people can learn from your experience and also have these little belief shifts that get them one step closer to wanting to work with you. So let's see here. So for the people who are requesting the worksheets, there's a few folks who I can't see their last name. So maybe you guys can just private message me your email so that I have a way to send these to you so that I know exactly who it is. That would probably be the best way to get these out. Let's see. All right. So moving forward, we'll talk a little bit about empowered messaging. Empowered messaging. So a lot of marketing people just teach like hey, you need to lean into the pain of like what this person is going through in order to get them to take action and make a change, right? So they're just focused on pain only. And the problem with that is you get a lot of people who are like disempowered and kind of in like a victim state of consciousness. And so if you're putting out content that's like just focused on pain, you're going to get a lot of people who are, reflecting that back to you. Like your messaging is purely a mirror for the types of people that are, coming out the other side and expressing interest in working with you. So that's why this is so important. And yeah, so if you're speaking too much to the struggle, you'll get struggling people, if that makes sense. Now, what we want to focus on here is basically speaking to somebody who's empowered to make a change. So, in the case of coaches, which I can speak to very well because I know that niche very well, I might say something like you're a multi six-figure coach in the making. You have incredible skills to change your clients' lives. But when it comes to getting clients online, like you just haven't quite cracked the code yet, right? It's speaking to like a higher aspirational type of person versus somebody who's like stuck and struggling and unable to really move forward. And speaking to people who are empowered are going to be way better clients than somebody who's like disempowered or in like a victim mentality. So like again, let's say that your niche is like helping women in a 9 to 5 who want to step fully into their power, right? You might say something like, you're an amazing mother, you're working hard for your family, but when it comes to the workplace, like you're just not quite sure how to navigate some of the situations you find yourself in. And it's kind of a softer landing than like putting somebody like, you're a victim, you're powerless, you feel stuck, that kind of language. So I highly recommend finding a way to speak to people who are more aspirational versus in like a victim state of consciousness. So that's kind of the key takeaway with this is aspirational versus like victimhood, just to put it simply. And so how does this all kind of play out into your marketing? So I kind of want to share with you like the big picture here, which is kind of like the big aha for me. And it's this concept that I call funnel alignment. And so if you have great messaging on the front end of your funnel, but your nurture process, which is like the middle of the funnel, is a little different or off, then it's gonna it's not going to be consistent enough to get the types of clients that you want. I'll put it that way. So just to kind of draw you a picture. So we have like leads at the top. And once, you get leads, you're nurturing them. And over time, through the nurture process, you start to enroll people, and it's kind of a drip down effect. So, how do we align our messaging at every stage? So, again, it comes down to relevancy. And for the top of funnel here, which is like your leads coming in, how do you get leads basically? It's through your content, through outreach, and potentially ads if you're, further along and you have a budget for that. So on this level, you really want to have the I help statement dialed so that right away when people visit your profile, they know immediately that you can help them, that you're relevant to them, and that, you're somebody that they can look to for advice around this area of their life where they want to make a change. And then we also have your profile. So making sure that the content is highly relevant. And again, we do that through, this um, four pillars of messaging here around your niche, your client avatar, the core beliefs. So we have content and resources. So I would recommend you have some kind of resource that people can access on their first interaction with you, where they're able to maybe download a free lead magnet of some sort, or get access to a free video training, something like that, that really helps them get to know you quickly, see that you're an expert, and that you can in fact help them. If you're doing ads, you really want to call out your avatar right away. And you can do that with different hooks on the front of the ad and the copy. So, I might say something like, after one of my best performing ads right now is like, after the first year in my coaching business, I was in a tough spot, right? That's like the hook. So a coach who reads that is going to relate and probably read more. So if you can find a way to like call out to your people through your content and what you're writing, that's really going to help you hook their attention. And then obviously niche specific content is very helpful. So those are, three ways that you can get leads that are aligned with the messaging that you're putting out, which is like through your profile, how you have it structured, your ads, if you want to run ads, and then having content that's like specific to the niche. So when they scroll your profile, they're able to really make a strong connection that like you're an expert who can help them. Now, when it comes to nurture, there's a number of ways to do this. Basically, content, and that can look like short form or long form video. You see me do like a lot of walk and talks or simple reels. Those are very easy pieces of content to make. Posts, photos, written content. You can have a group or a community. And then, if you're a little more advanced in your marketing, you could start to get into like email or text message marketing and like layer that on. But these are all great ways to nurture your audience. Can even go live and do master classes as well. So these are all kind of different tools that you have at your disposal that you can leverage to nurture your audience, like once they're hooked in and kind of interested in what you do. So through the nurture process, it's really important to, go through those core beliefs that we talked about in the embodied content piece, and, be yourself, be authentic. And always at each stage of this funnel, make sure that you're keeping your client avatar in mind. So your client avatar is going through this whole process. And you want to make sure that you have them in mind like every step of the way, so that one day, you're not talking to somebody who's at a totally different level. Like it would be like if one day I talked to like 7-figure coaches who want to scale versus early stage coaches who want more clients. It's like a totally different person, set of problems. And if you're pulling your audience in two different directions, then people will start to tune out, and they won't feel like it's relevant anymore. So they kind of stop paying attention. So these are all very important pieces. And when it comes to, inviting people, enrolling people to work with you, it's just about having a offer that's a perfect fit. And you figure that out by doing your market research again and creating an offer that solves the problems that your ideal client has and closes that gap in their life. So, if you're helping somebody regain their confidence, for example, you really want to make sure when you do your market research that the niche you have in mind has that gap, and it will become a lot easier to enroll clients when like the desire is very strong for what you're coaching people on and they have like a strong need for it. So that's kind of the big picture concept here. I know we covered a lot today, so I'm going to kind of open things up for Q&A. And, before we do that, I'll just share with you guys that I have a one-on-one coaching program. So I'd love to invite you guys to work with me if that's something that you're interested in. I am currently working with both new coaches who want to get launched and early stage coaches who are, looking to sign more clients. Basically, you've already had your first few clients, you're maybe making like 1 to 5K a month and you want to scale. So if that's you, I have an 8-month coaching program that's one-on-one. I'll drop a link to apply in the chat, and then we can kind of open things up for Q&A. Just FYI, once you fill out this application, I will personally reach out to you and we can schedule a time to chat and see if this is a good fit for both of us. And yeah, I would love to help you get the skills you need to move forward in your coaching business and start signing more clients, hit 10K months and beyond. So curious, guys, just let me know, has this been valuable to you? Please let me know in the chat. Would love to hear um, biggest takeaways and open the floor for Q&A if anyone wants to unmute themselves. Can I expand a bit on what psychographics are? Yeah, so psychographics is like the way that somebody thinks. So what are they thinking internally? Like demographics are more like their age, what country they live in, are they man, are they woman, either. Um, and psychographics are more of like how they think about things. So, how are they thinking about their problems? How are they thinking about their goals? Are they ambitious? Are they driven? Are they heart-centered? Are they more like relaxed and passive? It's kind of like more character traits and how they think about the world around them and their problems. And I'm going to check the. Does that answer your question, Christine?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, the avatar worksheet goes into detail on these things as well. And I'm just going to check the Facebook Live in case anyone else has questions there. Um, yeah, so any other questions? I know we covered a lot. I mean, if you have questions around the belief-based messaging, the overall funnel alignment, just to kind of jog everybody's memory. We also talked about uh, niche clarity, doing market research, your client avatar, empowered messaging. Any questions around any of this? In no rush. Yeah, Christine, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Feel free to ask about market research.
Thank you. I'm really at a loss as to where I'm going to look like to try to dig into my client avatars to get this kind of information. Um, I just don't know where to begin because a lot of, like a lot of people want to stop drinking, but they don't want to admit that they have an issue.
Yes. So with that kind of thing, it's less of an outreach strategy and it's more, I mean, in terms of attracting clients, like it's tough to reach out to somebody where there's like an internal problem like that and identify them on the outside, right? Like you might not know somebody has a drinking problem by looking at their Facebook unless it's super blatant. But um, even still, you probably don't want to like poke around and reach out to someone like that. But my point is, it's more of an attraction-based marketing strategy. So if you can make content around these beliefs that we talked about, where you're able to, get that reach, like specifically like, Instagram, for example, you're able to reach people who aren't followers through that program, that platform. I mean, you could also potentially find Facebook groups where, people are doing work around alcohol recovery, but that might be a little bit harder to find. You'd have to kind of do a little digging there to see what makes the most sense. But when
Okay.
it comes to outreach to do market research, um, I mean, do you have a specific niche in mind?
Specifically to help people eliminate alcohol from their life.
Right. So there can be a lot of people that fit that description. There could be, corporate executives, there could be athletes, they could be artists, they could be um
Stay-at-home moms.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So really like your niche is going to be about finding who that person is. And then when you start to interview people, I mean, you could just position it as like when you do your outreach, so you're not like poking somebody around alcohol abuse. Like, hey, I'm a life coach, and I was wondering if I could offer you a little bit of free coaching in exchange for asking some market research questions. So if you know like a lot of stay-at-home moms, for example, you could interview them and you could delicately brush on the subject of alcohol. Like, something I help people with a lot is like their relationship with alcohol, and then kind of read it, see how they respond. But
Okay.
yeah, I'd recommend finding like a specific group of people like that so you at least know who to reach out to. Like, are they business people? Are they stay-at-home moms? Are they artists? Are they athletes? Like, who specifically, do you want to help?
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? Any other questions while we're here? All right. Well, thanks for everybody who dropped your email here. I'll make sure that I get this all out to you. And yeah, I'll drop yeah, thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. And yeah, once again, if anyone wants to apply for my one-on-one program, I'll drop the link one last time just to tell you a little bit more about this. It's 8-month program. I'm adding 2 months for free right now until the end of September. I have 2 spots left. I just did a launch. 3 people have signed up, and so I have 2 spots at the moment. And basically, we work together one-on-one. We do an onboarding call. We lay out a roadmap for 8 months to help you sign more clients and grow your business to like 10, 20K months. And from there, we have coaching sessions to kind of keep you on track with the plan and Telegram access to me as well to have DM support 24/7 as you need it. So if you're looking for a coach to work with one-on-one to help you reach your goals, would love to help you get there. And, once again, link is in the chat to apply. And if you have any questions about that too, you can feel free to reach out directly. After you apply, I'll review your application, schedule a meeting with you if I think I can help, and then we'll explore what working together would look like. So that's everything. Appreciate it. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Julie. Glad you got some good value from this today. And yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll sign off and we can kind of close things out. But I'll just give everyone maybe like 1 or 2 more minutes. All right.
Thank
Yes.
you, Nathan. Really appreciate your time and effort for us. That's great. And if I win the lottery tomorrow, I'll be in touch.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Christine. Appreciate that. And yeah, thanks for everybody who dropped your email. I'll be sure to send out these worksheets to you all later today. All right. That's going to do it for today, guys. We will see you on the next live. Have a great one.